guys with Organically Blunt. Nice to finally meet you, Jordan.
Good to see you in person here at Legacy, Michigan. Very excited about it. Been looking forward to this interview for quite some time.
So, how was your trip here?
Good, man, good. I drove up from Oklahoma. I try to make it to as many of these events as I can. And I just love shaking the hands of growers, man. Like, doing the podcast is great, and we built a good community, but I've been really addicted to, like, going to these places, trying the strains that these growers are passionate about. Like I said, shaking their hand, hearing their struggles, hearing their stories. That's what I'm really into right now. So, Legacy is perfect for it.
So how long have you been doing Growcast now?
I started Growcast, I actually turned on the mics in 2014. We didn't have the name for a show yet, but me and Wolfman, we used to get together in Humboldt County, and the conversation would always turn towards growing. No matter what we did, the conversation would just turn towards growing. So we decided, why not turn on the microphones? And that's how Growcast started. The oldest episodes that you can find are from about 2016, but in that general area is where Growcast started. About 2015 is when I started the Growcast brand, started to record some episodes that never saw the light of day because I was ashamed of them, and then 2016 we really got rolling.
Okay, excellent, definitely.
So yeah, almost 10 years now technically from when I turned on the microphones.
So is this the first time you've heard of Big Cloud?
Yeah, it actually is. I think I've seen some of their events before because they do all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And they do it right, man. I know how hard it is to put on events, and they put on a big one here. It seems like a really good turnout, really good vibes.
Definitely.
And I like what I'm seeing so far. I'm happy to be speaking today. So.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to hear a little bit more about your story, if you don't mind. So how did you get involved in the cannabis industry? How did you get a start for your podcast? Like, where did the idea come from?
100%. When I was a teenager, I stopped going to high school after freshman year. I started working. I worked cleaning a taekwondo dojo. I ended up driving pizzas for a long time. I was a pizza driver. And I wanted to be a musician. That was actually my original passion, is I wanted to do music. I love production, and I can play a variety of instruments. I was in a few bands. And so I wanted to be a musician until I was about 20. And when I was 20 years old, my dad actually handed me a Time magazine, or he sent me a link to a Time magazine with a cannabis leaf right on the front.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, you know, this cannabis thing is taken off. And he used to smoke, but he wasn't a smoker at the time.
Sure.
And I said to him, I said, Dad, I'm really passionate about this cannabis stuff. I got into cannabis as a teen because I was epileptic. It was helping me with my grand mal seizures.
Wow.
And I said, Dad, you know, like, I might want to get into this industry somehow. And shout out to Pops River. He was so supportive, dude. He wasn't like, oh, smoke all the pot you want. He wasn't that type of parent. But when I told him that I actually wanted to get into the industry, he was like all for it.
Wow.
He said, hey, you got an Uncle Jackie who lives out there. Shout out to the members who know the stories about Uncle Jackie. He said, why don't you go out to Northern California and stay with him? And Uncle Jackie hooked me back up with my cousin Benny, who people know from the show. Cousin Benny served with some growers in Humboldt County who taught me how to grow.
Wow.
They brought me to Bayside Garden Supply where I met Wolfman. Wolfman sold me my first grow kit, my first grow setup, and I said, hey, you're a pretty cool dude. You want to hang out sometime? And that's literally how Growcast got started right there. I wasn't great at doing the professional grow thing. Once prices started to drop, man, shout out to the people who are still doing it. You got to be on point. Like, to still survive selling flower in that type of market, today's market, you can't have any slip-ups. You got to have all your shit, all your ducks in a row. Anything that goes wrong is like a huge wrench. And so I backed out of the industry about 2015. I grew for 5 years in Humboldt. And then I said, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to move back home for a variety of reasons, and I'm going to focus on podcasting. But you know what, Jay? The one kind of life lesson that I took from that was never feel like if you do something, if you dive into a project and you work on something and it doesn't turn out, never feel like you wasted your time.
Okay.
The experience that you gained from whatever that venture was, if you're a positive-minded person and you're a growth-oriented person, that experience is going to serve you down the road.
Yeah.
So I never became a musician. It was too hard. I couldn't do music. Music is hard.
Right.
But when I started the podcast, everything that I had learned applied. I was using the same software. I was using the same microphones. I knew how to do all of it. It was just easier because I didn't have instruments. So every bit of skill that I had picked up ended up combining with my love of cannabis, and that's how I ended up creating Growcast.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your afternoon time here, but I definitely want to ask you one more question before I get you off here.
Sure.
And that is, so you say you're moving here.
Yes.
You're moving to Michigan.
Yeah.
What made you fall in love with here?
It's funny you say that. This is actually an Organically Blunt exclusive because I have not talked about my move to Michigan yet.
Okay.
So I would love to share that here on the podcast. My parents live in Hawaii. I'm going to go spend some time with them. And then 2024, I'm moving here to Michigan. I was born in Joplin, Missouri. I'm a Midwest boy. I was raised in Chicago, which is like just a few hours from here. If you go straight, straight on the highway. So we wanted to get back to our Midwestern roots, and I wanted to be closer to family. So I'm not moving back to Illinois. I love my Illinois Gromies, but I am moving back there, dude. I'm not moving to Indiana. I'm not moving to Wisconsin. So I'm going to move to Michigan. I love it here, man. I love the people. Michigan also has, in my opinion, the greatest legacy cannabis market of any of the legacy states. California dropped the ball. California could have been the Champagne of cannabis.
Right.
They dropped the ball. They started going hard on the growers. They started kicking everybody out. Colorado has done okay in some regards, but it's still kind of a mess out there. Michigan has done it right. You guys still have craft cultivators. You still got big guys. You got little guys. You still got a caregiver program, right? Shout out to the caregiver programs. Why did we abandon these types of things, man? That's what I love about the state of Michigan when it comes to the cannabis scene. And I just love the Midwestern vibe, dude. I love the family-oriented vibe. Everyone's so polite here, so gift-giving and generous. So I'm excited to be back in the Midwest, man. I loved Oklahoma, but my family moved away, and now I'm coming back up here to be closer to family.
Yeah, you can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
Family comes first, man.
Dude, it's about holistic. Like, I love this cannabis shit, and as cannabis people, we tend to get really, really into it, which is good.
Yes.
But it's a holistic view, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you keep everything balanced, you keep your health life balanced, your finances in check, your relationships. That's how to become a master grower.
Definitely.
Truly a master grower.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming on Organically Blunt.
Anytime.
And when you get touched down and move in here, let me know, because I want to have you back on the show. I'll even drive out and we can do it from your farm if you want.
100%, dude. I got some big things in the works, man. So you stay tuned, and I appreciate you, Jay.
Man, I appreciate your support. Have a great afternoon, bud. Thank you.
Was that good?